The early retirement of coal-fired power plants falls under one of the investment areas of JETP Indonesia, specifically the second point, which is the early retirement and managed phased out of coal-fired power plants. Ideally, JETP Indonesia should have allocated funds for the early retirement of these coal-fired power plants. As stated in the CIPP document, the investment requirement for the early retirement of coal-fired power plants is $1.1 billion, with the plant retired units being Pelabuhan Ratu and Cirebon 1 coal-fired power plant. However, it turns out that the funds used for this plan come from the Energy Transition Mechanism, or ETM scheme provided by the Asian Development Bank, or ADB. If the funds used for one of JETP Indonesia's investment areas do not come from the International Partners Group or IPG countries, and the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero Working Group or GFANZ, which are donors of JETP Indonesia, can the early retirement of Pelabuhan Ratu and Cirebon 1 coal-fired power plant be considered as part of the JETP Indonesia program? Then, what is the contribution of funds from JETP Indonesia donors to the early retirement of coal-fired power plants? To demonstrate donor commitment to a fair and just energy transition in Indonesia, JETP Indonesia could consider early retirement for other coal-fired power plant units. The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources Indonesia reveals that the power system in Java, Bali until October 2023 still experiences oversupply. Closing industrial coal-fired power plants and replacing them with power plants using renewable energy becomes a win-win solution. Data from Transition Zero shows numerous options for retiring coal-fired power plants in Java, Bali. Some of them include Suralaya coal-fired power plant. According to the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air, or CREA, the complex of Suralaya coal-fired power plant in Banten has the potential to negatively impact health and the local economy. Based on their assessment, the Banten-Suralaya coal-fired power plant complex results in 1,640 deaths annually and health losses worth $1.16 billion. The plant's power was temporarily reduced and stopped in September due to being a major contributor to air quality deterioration in Jakarta and its surroundings. Paiton coal-fired power plant. Located in Paiton Subdistrict, Probolinggo Regency, Paiton coal-fired power plant has a peak load of up to 6,000 megawatts. Since its operation, residents, mostly farmers and fishermen, have felt the impact. Based on Walhi, East Java's records for the years 2015 and 2016, the community around the Paiton coal-fired power plant includes many individuals working as rice, tobacco, and corn farmers. Coal dust from Paiton coal-fired power plant has harmed tobacco leaf quality and reduced income for farmers. For fishermen, the power plant has damaged coral reefs, leading to a decrease in fish population. This is a strong reason why JETP Indonesia can early retire the Paiton coal-fired power plant. The National Electricity Supply Business Plan, or RUPTL, of the state-owned National Electricity Company, or PLN, targets a renewable energy mix of 23% by 2025 and 25% by 2030. For the electricity sector, with renewable energy accounting for 51.6% of the total capacity addition by 2030. However, it is regrettable that in the RUPTL, there is a plan for the addition of 13.8 gigawatts of capacity for coal-fired power plants. This includes 3.3 gigawatts for mine-mouth power plants and 10.5 gigawatts for non-mine-mouth power plants, which contradicts global recommendations. The United Nations has called for a halt to a new coal-fired power plants after 2020. The IPCC, or Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, also recommends achieving the 1.5 degrees Celsius target, which requires countries to close 80% of existing coal-fired power plants by 2030. and phase out or retire them by 2040. If the construction of coal-fired power plants continues, it will hinder Indonesia's planned energy transition targets. Greenpeace Indonesia researcher Adila Isfandiari believes that Indonesia will have to deal with carbon emissions for more than 30 years into the future. If the retirement of Pelabuhan Ratu and Cirebon 1 coal-fired power plants is announced using the funds provided by ADB's ETM, funds from IPG countries and GFANS members through JETP Indonesia should be used to retire other coal-fired power plants in Java and Bali. In your opinion, do you think the contribution of IPG and GFANS as donors to JETP Indonesia can be considered optimal? Share your opinion in the comment section below.